Our next speaker, Mr. Alaeddin Majed, Chief Payment and Partnership Officer at the Hyperpay Company, and speaking on today's topic, payment innovation in a new era. Over to you, Alaeddin.
Thank you, Melvin, and good afternoon, everyone. As Melvin said, I am Alaeddin. I am the Chief Payments Officer here at Hyperpay. For those of you who don't know Hyperpay, Hyperpay is a payment service provider, predominantly focusing on helping businesses and organizations in the region accept payments. So we help merchants, accept payments either via their online channels or via an offline channel. So anywhere you have an interaction with your customer. Today, in terms of just some highlights about us, last year we processed around 2 billion plus in terms of volume, around 50 million transactions for that year. Today, we're working with 20 plus financial institutions in our network. So, across the region and where we're headquartered in particular in Saudi, for example, we're working with all the banks there. Today, we have more than 2,000 plus active merchants. So active meaning that these are merchants that are processing at least 10 transactions a month. We have much more than that, but we always focus on the active number. In terms of our regional footprint, we have around 7 regional offices. Hopefully, we're extending them in our expansion plan for this year and next year. So, in terms of Sudan, watch the space, as we say, because you are one of the countries we are very interested in expanding to. We've got 80 plus employees across the region, helping, as I said, our merchants and ensuring that the payment processing is happening nice and smooth across all the verticals we support, and also supporting our partner financial institutions in the payments processing world. In terms of our discussion today, really, I just want to have discuss some of the stuff that we've seen in the last year, and really it's a different approach to what we see payments becoming in the next couple of years. So if we take a snapshot of the region, to be honest, and not just one country, but all the countries at the moment, what we'll see is obviously we have a very young and rapidly growing population. There's increasing internet penetration. So if we're looking at the GCC, some of the countries have an average penetration of 94%. And in terms of even the behavior of the consumers today, so before COVID-19, the habits were being drastically driven and changed by e-commerce. But COVID-19 has obviously accelerated that. And we're seeing that in the acceleration of digital transformation of a lot of organizations that, okay, look, this has been an eye-opener. We really need to focus on our online offering, and in particular being able to offer our customers a way to pay online. And obviously the regulators in the region have been paying attention to this space. So we're seeing a lot of more activity in supporting fintechs like ourselves and setting up ecosystems and implementing new regulations and clearly having in place a way for fintechs to thrive in those countries. And this is really important, if we take a snapshot of how payments has grown across the region. We need to really connect to something that's we see in the physical world also. So I always give the example that when some countries came to developing the rest of the country, they didn't put in the telephone landline infrastructure. they actually pushed out 4G networks straight away. So it's the same for payments. What's happened is that we didn't go through like a 10 or 15-year cycle of learning, and in terms of the consumers or the merchants. What's happened is that we have, straight away transitioned to the latest payment methods, the latest requirements. So our merchants, they expect to have everything that they see, in the US and Europe straight away. And same thing from a consumer behavior perspective, because they want to have the same payment experience there. So, COVID-19 has also come in and changed a lot of the industry. It's accelerated digital transformation in organizations. Particularly, from our experience, it was, before COVID-19, all these plans for digital transformation were basically put on the shelf, as we say. And then when COVID hit, a lot of the large organizations, a lot of these businesses were not ready. They were caught unawares, and they basically used to focus on a physical presence or a point, their business at the point of sale, and their digital channels were very lacking in terms of the support they could offer. So we had an influx of businesses that were looking for digital payments, and at the same time, it also accelerated their internal plans for digital transformation. And this we can see in all the studies that we're reading at the moment. So, there's a study here from KPMG, and there's multiple studies that have shown that a lot of these CTOs today have, they've changed their approach, and they're focusing on the online piece. And it's the same is true for, any of the countries we're operating in. We're seeing a push from the physical world to the digital world, and this is really what any regulator or any today anyone who is looking at the space needs to really focus on, is that it is very important to ensure that you're able to offer that online piece. So here also, we can see just some statistics in regards to, from a consumer behavior perspective. And as we said, it's obviously there's two sides to this coin. There's the businesses that need to provide, but also the consumers that need to start using the digital payment methods. Obviously, a lot of the studies after the pandemic said a lot of the traffic would go, but actually what we're seeing now is that people who have used digital means for payment will stick to that, preferably because they find the payment experience easier. They find that, for example, they don't have to go to physically to a store. Everything's delivered to their door, and they have more time to spend, doing their own hobbies or any activities that they needed to do during the day. And that's why here at Hyperpay, what we started to do is not just think about the payment that we're doing at the moment. So there is our strategy has really been transformed to looking beyond the payment process. And what I mean beyond the payment process is, if we take a simple supply chain, or from the manufacturer to the merchant and then to the customer, there are a lot of points of interaction that's occurring and where a lot of payments are happening. So how do we actually make the process much more easier? And how do we actually take advantage of the current technology to improve all of the processes that are being occurring? And really, that's how we're looking to help businesses and even financial institutions offer new products in market. And so, a very simple example here is not just the B2C market, but the B2B market. So, I mean, one of the clear things that has come across during COVID-19 and the pandemic is that cash, is not always in circulation. So we know that because a lot of people move towards digital forms or credit cards in terms of their payment process, what's happened is that the supply of cash in some cases has gone down, and for organizations or some businesses. And if we look at the process, for example, of just a simple delivery to a store, we can see how this affects that just simple process. So here, if we look at the typical example I give is really someone deliver. There's a Al Marai, which is a company that delivers juice and milk. They're doing a delivery to one of these stores, and what's happening is that at that point they're serving a invoice, and usually this invoice is paid in cash. And for it's a shocking figure, but around 90% of all invoices today are processed manually. And for some, for organizations that are serving invoices, that cost is between $12 and $30 from the moment the invoice is printed to actually it being delivered. So there's a lot of hidden costs in terms of invoicing. So the major issue here is obviously that invoice needs to be paid in cash. And during the pandemic, as I said, the supply of cash was low for some of the stores. So some of the stores were not able to pay these vendors. Again, creating a shortage in terms of the cash management and cash flow of a lot of organizations. And then, we're looking at different even settlement times, as I said, for the invoices. So really, this is a vertical no one's actually thought about until now, and it only came to light during the pandemic. So, there's a lot of opportunity here because, for a payment technology provider like ourselves, it's very easy to step in at every point of interaction. So it's very easy to have a wallet between the vendor and the shop, and then in that case, effectively the monies don't need to exchange hands, and everything is based out of a wallet. So again, it's all about taking that cash out of the circulation and actually making the process much more effective and much more straightforward. So this is just some of the stuff we're doing here at Hyperpay. And I really thank you for listening to the presentation. And I just, I don't know if there's time for questions, but, happy to receive any questions from Melvin and the team on your behalf also. So thank you for today, and thank you for listening.
All right. Thank you, Alaeddin. Just checking for some questions. So, do you have what do you see the progress in your current countries where people are using Hyperpay? What do you see the difference for them mostly, Alaeddin?
So today, in terms of Hyperpay, I mean, the difference, what we're effectively a business-to-business organization. So we serve merchants in the market. So for example, we have a bookstore that's looking to go online. We're able to offer them a store. We're able to offer them the payment technology, and then we're able to introduce them to the financial institutions we're working with. So we're offering an end-to-end service and ensuring that we make that process nice and smooth in terms of the setup for the merchant. And obviously, a lot of our work is on the governmental side also. So we're helping a lot of the governments, transform their processes and interject payments. So, for example, today we're working with the Saudi Interior Ministry and the Saudi Ministry for Tourism. And in particular, we're working on their e-visa program. So Saudi Arabia, they launched a e-visa program for 51 countries for the first time. And what we did was we provided all the payment technology to help them serve the visitors that are entering into the kingdom. That's just one example of how we're able to help on the payment processing side.
Perfect. So maybe Sudan can also utilize most of these technologies.
So
Access case
yeah,
study.
in terms of Sudan or even any of the countries we're entering in, our approach is a bit different in terms of maybe anyone else into the market. So what we do is we focus on infrastructure first. So we will actually have assets within the country. We will place, for example, a payment switch. We will place the payment engine itself there, and then focus on actually delivering local products. So we're always focused on integrating that with the local payment products. We're always focused on having a full-fledged setup in country, and it's really that's helped us drive a lot of our business, because we focus products predominantly, as I said, beyond the payment, on what the needs are in the market. And so we've developed insurance specific products for insurance companies, for example, to serve the Saudi market, and also those products have been curtailed to serve the Egyptian and the Jordanian market. So each one has a different dynamic, but effectively it's pushing transactions towards our platform at the end of the day.
Thank you, Alaeddin, and I wish to meet you and your company in South Sudan next year.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it, inshallah. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Have a nice day ahead. Thank
You
you, sir.
too. Thank you. Bye bye.